think we're live, Kat? Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Salty Sisters live stream. We are the dynamic duo known as the Salty Sisters. I'm Yvonne Marchese. I am an age agitator, and I do that as the host of the Late Bloomer Living podcast and the Midlife Uprising community for women. And my cohort, I don't know which side she's on for you guys, is the freaking fabulous Kat Corchado. Do you want to introduce yourself, Kat?
Sure. This is going to be a very salty and spicy conversation. Hi, everybody. You know me as the host of the Sisters in Service podcast. I'm also the founder of Small Space Pilates, which is a way for women to get stronger with weights and Pilates at the same time. And today is such an appropriate subject. I can't even tell you. Can you see it on my face? I'm like, ah. Getting comfortable with being uncomfortable. And I will tell you this, one of the things that makes me uncomfortable is being late. Late makes me stress, and I am stressed, y'all. Okay.
And
because
I have to tell you, Kat, I've never seen you late before. She's never been late. And all the time that I've known Kat, you have never been late. And like, we were backstage before we hit the live button, and I finally got to see what happens to Kat when she's late. And oh my gosh,
I know. I mean, okay, you guys, you know what happens when you start to rush, you forget things, you bump your head, you kick your toe, you do all that stuff, and it just sets the tone. And I'm trying to just see how Yvonne's like. And I'm trying to be like her today. So where are we starting, Yvonne?
I had my own moment earlier this morning, people, I'm just going to say. So, it happens to all of us. And I mean, let's talk about getting comfortable with being uncomfortable. And why would anybody even want to do that? I mean, really, because really nobody wants to be uncomfortable, right?
But there are so many situations where we are. So for whoever's listening, what are those situations that make you uncomfortable? It could be something as you just want to stop at the supermarket and you have one item and there's 15 people in line. Does that make you uncomfortable? What about being late? Makes me uncomfortable. I don't like it. I try not to do it, but life gets in the way, y'all, and it happens. So what are those things that make you uncomfortable? How do you deal with it? Do you have a hissy fit like I did right before we came live? Yes, I did. I had a little mini one. I did. And I pulled it together. But, being late makes me feel uncomfortable. Maybe just even, maybe it's something big. Maybe you're starting something new and that makes you nervous. It makes you uncomfortable. What about networking in person? Especially after COVID, does that make you feel uncomfortable?
Yeah.
So let's chat about that a little bit more, Yvonne.
All right. Well, I mean, let's talk about not only what, I'd love to hear from people. So put comments in the chat if you could. But I also want to talk about why we should even get comfortable. What does it mean to get comfortable with being uncomfortable? First of all, like, what is that? And where I come from with that idea is the idea that if we can put ourselves, not all the time, but some of the time, a little bit, maybe a little bit every day, if you can put yourself in the position of being uncomfortable towards an end, towards something that you really want or say you want, it's like doing reps, going to the gym. That's uncomfortable. If you're building muscle, Kat, you can speak to this better than I can. The only way to build muscle is to keep putting on a little more weight gradually every time, right? Because if you're just lifting the same 5-pound dumbbells,
you're not uncomfortable anymore.
Right.
I'll just say it like that.
I think suck. Why does growth require discomfort? First of all,
I think the discomfort is more in our brain, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
When you think of discomfort, I'm thinking about being lost. This is before cell phones, y'all, just saying. But getting lost when you had to look at a map and figure out where you are. But I think when we think of being uncomfortable, it can also be something exciting. You know, you're going on a trip to Europe. It makes you a little uncomfortable because you've never been to these countries before. You don't know what to expect. So there's this excitement, but also there's this uncomfortability about it. But not saying you're not going to go on your trip. You know, you go and you go, it was wonderful. I don't know what I was nervous about. You know, starting a business makes you feel uncomfortable because you don't know what you don't know. And I think that's what it is. We don't know what to expect. It's those expectations that would think, what about this? What if nobody comes to our party? You know, that thing, you know, when you throw a party and nobody comes and you're like, what's wrong with me? You know, type of thing. It's kind of like that, being uncomfortable, you know?
Exactly. Yeah. Well, our brains want to keep us safe. That that's the brain just wants everything to kind of be status quo all the time. That is safety, you know. But we need to, you know, if you want to grow, if you're feeling stuck, bored, that creates its own uncomfortable feeling. Sometimes you have to get so uncomfortable with your status quo that you then are like, I can't take this anymore. I've been there.
I
When
think
I
we've all been there.
Yeah, for sure. When I got the idea to start the podcast, it took me 2 years to start the Late Bloomer Living podcast. And this little voice in the back of my head kept saying, oh, wouldn't that be great? Wouldn't that be fun? Wouldn't that be fun? And then the other part of me was like, I'm too busy. I might do it, but I'll do it later. I'm really busy right now. I don't know how to produce a podcast. I don't have time to learn how to do that. I don't have time. I don't have the money to pay somebody to do it for me or teach me how to do it. I had a lot of really good excuses to keep me safe and in place. And in the end, one day I woke up and went, oh my gosh, it's not about time or money. It's about me feeling like I'm not qualified. That's really what has been holding me back for 2 years, is this
Imposter
feeling,
syndrome.
oh, big time. Oh, big time. Like, why would anybody listen to my podcast? Who am I? I'm not an expert on, aging, or I'm not a psychologist. I'm not, what are my creds? Who cares? And when I realized that, first of all, I didn't have to be an expert to have a podcast, that I could talk about my own experience of being a late bloomer and talk to other people about what happened for them. I I realized, oh, it really is just me holding me back. And
But when did that happen, Yvonne? Because some people, they get into the, no one wants to listen to me. No one wants to deal with this. And then there's that moment where you push past that. Do you remember that moment where you just said, I'm doing it anyway?
oh my gosh, like, so vividly. I woke up one morning and it was December of 2019, and I was so sick of my excuses, and I thought, you know what? I got onto Facebook. I wrote out this post to say, I am drawing a line in the sand today. I've had this idea for 2 years and I haven't done anything about it. And I'm publicly saying right here on Facebook that I'm going to start a podcast. And my heart was thumping in my chest. Like, the adrenaline in my body was off the hook, ridiculous, for just hitting a little Facebook post.
Right.
And I did it. And by the way, that thumping in my heart went on for a couple of hours after I sent the post. And then I started getting all these replies back from people congratulating me, and I hadn't even done anything yet. I was like,
Like, oh,
oh,
this might not be so bad.
well, actually, what that was its own pressure, because now it was why I posted it. I wanted some
Mhm.
public accountability, and
Yeah.
I was uncomfortable. I'll say that, but it was the right amount of discomfort
Mhm.
to push me forward. And I started digging in and doing the Googling and looking at YouTube
Mhm.
videos and figuring things out.
But what about those situations where it's uncomfortable and you know it's going to be uncomfortable for a while? So for those of you that don't know, I was in the military. So if anybody who's listening was in the military, remember when you first shipped off to boot camp, you had no idea. And then you get there and it's 6, 8, 12 weeks, whatever service you were in, of uncomfortability. Talk about embracing the suck.
Oh my gosh. I can imagine it, but I'm sure even
Mhm.
my imagination comes nowhere near what that must have been like.
But even just life situations, I had a point in time, when you're taking care of parents, when you're dealing with them, or there's a certain time when the uncomfortability is going to be there for a while. How do you reconcile that with yourself? You just say, okay, it is what it is. Let me just let me meditate, let me breathe, let me do all of this stuff, just because it's not forever. It's not forever, but it's going to be a while. So how do you deal with situations like that?
Well, first of all, I remind myself that I've done hard things before,
Mhm.
and I'm a and I remind myself that I'm a pretty resilient person, you know. Sometimes when I'm doing exercise and things might be a little hard, I'll tell myself I am strong.
Mhm.
I am strong as I'm
Whatever you got to
shaking.
do, girl, to get through, right?
Yes. And, a lot of it is about just, I continue to do this now because I am doing the Late Bloomer Living podcast and I'm talking about midlife reinvention all the time. So I am very aware of when I am holding back and I push myself just to do little things as regularly as I can
Mhm.
towards getting out of my comfort zone in some way, shape, or form.
Mhm.
So baby steps, I think, is not. Don't underestimate the power of baby steps. They will get you so much further than you realize. Have you found that's true? What do you do to push
I
through?
tend to, when I have something huge in front of me, and the first inclination is to just, ugh, how am I, no, I don't want to do this. But I think I break it down into little bite-sized pieces. And I write down the bite-sized pieces of what I need to do and how I'm going to do it. And then pretty soon you keep stringing along those little bite-sized pieces, and all of a sudden you go, "Oh wow, I did it." It's just one of those things that you've got to do it the way you think is going to work the best for you, because not everybody does it the same. But what I will say this is that a lot of times, and I find this with women a lot. I don't know if men deal with this as much, but we get through the hard stuff and then we're like, okay, what's next? We go the next thing, we go the next thing. And then something comes that's really, really hard, and we go, I can't do this. And then you look back and you go, remember that incident right there? How hard was that? But yet you're here to talk about it. So if you can get through that, you can push the button on your podcast. You can start your own business, because it gives you that resiliency. It gives you that, I got through that crap. I can't curse on StreamYard. So I, I'm a superhero,
That a rock star. You're a rock star.
rock star. So I think we forget about that. We look back and we forget to do that. And we get to something hard and we're just like, oh,
Yeah.
and it's just really difficult. But I think let's talk a little bit about mindset. What is the mindset in when something's uncomfortable? Like, let's say you're going to the doctor and the doctor says you need a colonoscopy. So many people are uncomfortable with that. How do you just reconcile it? Do you just say, okay, it is what it is. I got to do this, or going to the dentist? That's uncomfortable. No one likes doing that.
Yeah.
How do you get comfortable with, or do you just say, let me just get through it and move on?
Yeah, I think it is. Let me just get through it. I think where it gets harder is when there's things you have to do and you just push through them, right? And then there's the things that are more aspirational, and I think that's where we tend to go, eh, Later, later, you know, it's like we know we need to go to the dentist. You get into a rhythm with it. And I think that it's like if you could look at those things that you do every day and build an evidence file for yourself, make a list of all the things you've conquered in the past, and seriously, like make a list of all of it and keep reminding yourself of your strength, which is way bigger than any of us, I think, give ourselves credit for. You know, um, there are so many benefits to making yourself step into discomfort for something that you want as opposed to something that you have to do. Like if the doctor says you got to do something, then you kind of got that up against the wall thing. But what about oh, I'd love to take, let's say, I've always wanted to write a book. Maybe that's the thing. So, how do you make yourself step into that discomfort?
I think it's more
You've
about your
written a book.
why.
How did you do it, Kat?
Well, I had a lot of help, I was just gonna say. But
Yes,
I think it
that's a
comes
great
down to
point.
I think it comes down to your why. And also nobody does any of this by themselves. And being an entrepreneur is very it can be very lonely. But, when you've got other people who are, helping you along and lifting you up and you feel as though you've got a team, so when people talk about, "Oh, you have a team," I go, "Yeah, me, myself, and I, that's the team." And but, I have you and I have all these other people in mastermind that I can just sit there and have a hissy fit if I want to. It's like, I don't want to do this. This sucks. And I have my hissy fit and it's done. And I'm like, okay, what do I need to do now? So I think it's what is your why for doing it? Because I think your why is going to help you push through that uncomfortability. Because if your why isn't big enough, it's not going to move you past. That's me personally. That's my opinion.
Yep. Have you heard of I remember the first time I heard this, I would think it was my niece. And this was years ago. So she was really young when she gave me this term eustress. And I was like, what is eustress? And she was like, oh, well, it's the opposite of regular stress. So stress, like the kind of stress that we carry around with us all the time that builds up cortisol and in our stuff and we it tears down your resilience and all that. That's the kind of stress you want to avoid. But then the eustress is the stress of putting yourself in a situation that is going to help you grow, and that is the good kind of stress. And so it's short duration. It is on purpose, and there's power in that. It's the benefits of putting yourself in uncomfortable situations, and by the way, there's a lot of excitement that goes with being uncomfortable. If you can look at it as excitement instead of anxiety, if you can do that, judo,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, the excitement level, the butterflies in the stomach. Think about when you were a kid and maybe you were doing a school play for the first time, and but then did you have fun doing it?
But not even that. Think
Think about
about
everybody.
Clubhouse. Do you remember Clubhouse coming up on stage for the first time? My face,
Oh,
my voice was shaking. Like you could
oh,
literally hear it in my
yes,
voice.
yes, and I'd be
And then
sweating.
after I know
It's
my
awful.
goodness, oh my gosh. And it took me, and afterwards, I'm sweating even more after I've said what I've said. And I'm sitting there going, oh, that was stupid. Why'd you say that? Blah, blah, blah. And then, and then you keep doing it and you keep doing it. And the more I did it, the more it's like, come up on, sure. What do you want? What do you need? But I think also just, I think you had mentioned having something like a mantra or something. So a lot of you have seen on Facebook and other social media that I've got, Cat Corchado, I'm freaking fabulous, the freaking fabulous Cat Corchado. Do you know why I say that? Because it's on those days when you feel less than, those days you get up and you're like, if I have to do this one more time, you know, those days. And I look in the mirror and I go, you are the freaking fabulous cat Corchado. What's wrong with you? And I'm like, yeah. Yeah. And I wear my purple. And I'm like, yeah, it's Purple Girl Friday. And I'm not wearing purple. But anyway, it's that thing. So when people think, oh, well, you call yourself freaking fat. Yeah. Yes, I am. Because at my age, if I don't think so, then nobody else is going to.
Right.
And, if it bothers you, then, I'm not apologizing. So
I
I
think
think,
that, yeah, yeah. Because here's the thing. Oh, yeah. Because everybody needs to have some, be like cat, people. Be like cat. Because you're all freaking fabulous. Seriously, stop and listen. Listen to me now. Don't deflect. You are freaking fabulous too. And that's what Kat does with, like, I love when you say that with SS Pilates, with your community, that you're helping us be freaking fabulous too. And
yeah,
it's not about being better than anybody else. It's about stepping into your own amazingness,
and
because we
owning it
all have
and
that
owning
inside
it.
of us. Yes.
Yes, owning. There's a difference between stepping into it, and there's another difference between that and owning it. And I have finally, at my advanced age, I'm owning it. I tell people all the time, I've been an entrepreneur for years, but we just recently got married. I got married to the word entrepreneur. We're still in the honeymoon phase, just saying. But, you have to own it. Yes. Are you an entrepreneur? Yes, I am. I'm an entrepreneur. So I think once you own it and you find that mantra that just works for you, you don't have to tell anybody what it is. But as an entrepreneur, you can't be quiet. You just can't be an undercover entrepreneur, because let
No,
me tell you, if you're an undercover entrepreneur, you're not going to be very successful. I'm
you're
just
not
going to
going to, and
say
you can't help anybody. How
it.
can you
Mhm.
help anybody? It's one
Mhm.
of the things that got me doing reels, Cat, and
And that's
honest.
something that makes people feel uncomfortable.
Oh my gosh, I never thought I would have done. I
Mhm.
didn't. One of the reasons I have a podcast is I didn't want to be on camera. I just wanted to do a nice little audio podcast, and all that. And hey, Rebecca, we just
Hi,
had Rebecca
Rebecca.
join us. Hey, um, send us comments, Rebecca. I'd love to hear from you as we're here. And hey, Adam, undercover
Undercover
entrepreneur.
entrepreneur.
So one of the things that keeps me moving forward and doing reels, even though I have a little bit of a cringe factor every single time I do one or watch one of my own reels, is that I'm an entrepreneur because I have a message about how we can rethink aging. And it's important to me. And it's important to me that I get this message out to other people. And I cannot be an undercover entrepreneur and get that message out. Those two things don't go together. So I have to be okay with my own uncomfortableness of being on camera and talking about this thing. And it goes back to what you said a little bit earlier, Kat, which is the why. Why am I even doing this?
Mhm.
And if I can tap into that, then I can get over myself and embrace the suck,
Yes,
which we talked about one day. It was like one of the funniest things. I was like, yes, we need to definitely talk today about embracing the suck.
absolutely. And that's what today was for me. I was doing fine up until a certain point, and then I just had to be in my own, the suck is here, I'm here, But I also think that your why has to be bigger than your uncomfortability. If you understand how you help, you might be doing something, you might not even be an entrepreneur. You might just, be out there, you're doing stuff and people go, why aren't you doing this as a business? How many times has that happened to you? Why aren't you doing this as a business? Because you're helping people from your heart. And I get that, but that's your why. When people start coming back to you, like, you're so good at this, why aren't you doing this? So you have to understand your why, but you also have to understand that you're going to be uncomfortable.
Yeah, and
Like,
maybe it's not about having a business. Maybe your why
mhm,
has nothing to do with having a business, but it could just be a passion project for yourself. And that's okay too. You don't have to be changing the world. It can be something that is just, it's that thing that keeps popping up in the back of your mind that wouldn't it be nice if, oh, wouldn't it be great if, and then in the next 5 seconds, you'll find yourself shutting it down and going, oh, but I couldn't
Mhm.
possibly. Oh, but I can't do that because this, or because
Mhm.
I'm too old, or because it's too late, or because I don't know how to do that.
Yeah, my
Okay.
mom used to call that "Stop listening to the peanut gallery." That's the peanut gallery.
I like it. We all have one, don't we? Oh
Oh,
my
thanks,
goodness.
Adam. It's gonna get better. I was just, I was having my little hissy fit, and it's all over now, so I'm good. But I just think it's interesting that we all have certain situations that just, makes us cringe. What about talking in front of people, getting up and speaking in front of people?
Yeah.
That's something that people just go, nope, I'm not going to do it. But you know what made me comfortable with doing it is someone said, look, we're not asking you to get up and talk about quantum physics. We're asking you to get up and talk about something that you've been talking about for years: fitness, being a veteran, being a female veteran. I can talk to you all day about that. Quantum
Yeah.
physics, I might be able to spell it.
I used to be completely terrified of public speaking. And here's the funny thing is I used to be an actress. I have theater training. So people assume that I would be like completely comfortable talking in front of an audience and all that. But it is so different when I'm talking from the top of my head, speaking about things that are important to me. That is so much scarier to me than having a script to say. And I'd have had rehearsals and a costume and a set and a bunch of other people on stage with me, and it is a completely different thing. And the only thing that has made me more comfortable with it is doing it. You brought up like those first times in Clubhouse when the sweat, and now I go in Clubhouse, I don't even think about
You
it
don't think
anymore.
about it. Yeah. It's that, what does Kim call that muscle that you just keep using over and over? Like when you use that a muscle for the first few times and you just go, oh God, that was painful. That hurt. And then you keep using it and you go, oh, it's no big deal. Rebecca said, I want to share my vehicle of curiosity that I feel with passion. The more I do it, the better it comes. Absolutely. She did a talk last week and didn't have a script, and it was so much nicer than trying to contain myself. Exactly. Because you feel like when I have a script, I feel like I'm in a box and then I can't deviate. But you asked me to like riff on whatever, fitness. I'm like, where are we going? How long have I got? An hour? Cool. Let's do this.
Yeah. Rebecca, by the way, makes awesome jewelry with sea glass, and it just is so creative beyond. I mean, she's gone beyond the jewelry and into all kinds of things. If anybody wants to go check out Rebecca Thompson and find her through the comments, you can find all the
Nice.
links. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
So,
glad you're here.
and anybody who's watching or even, after the fact, share in the comments what makes you feel uncomfortable. It could be something super small. Like I said, me being late throws me off the deep end. I'm better. Actually, I'm better now than I used to be, Yvonne. I- You know, okay, let me just say this real quick. You know where this comes from? My father. My father was in the military too. And as a child in the military, my
Mm,
father used to say, if you're not in the car at 8 a.m., we're leaving you. How frightening is that for a child?
yeah.
I was in the car the night before. I mean, spending the night. I'm like, you're not leaving me. But just being, I'm either early or on time. And I've realized that, stuff happens and I just have to breathe and know that I'm doing everything I can. And if I'm late, the only thing I can do is apologize for being late, you know.
Exactly. Ooh,
Yeah.
this is bringing up something that we thought we might talk about too, Kat. And I just remembered that we talked about how you can adjust your mindset when you are on the struggle bus with something that's
Mhm.
uncomfortable. Let's say you've decided you're going to do something and you've started to take some baby steps, and then you kind of have one of those days where you just want to pull the covers up over your head. Like,
Mhm.
what can you do in that instance to reset and
Mhm.
keep moving?
I
What do
think
you
a
do?
lot of I think a lot of people would just quit. They was like, this is too hard. But for me, what I do is I stand still. I just stand still. I just figure out where I'm at, figure out what I need. Maybe I just need a day off. Maybe I just need to put it over in there in the corner and just not look at it for a minute. Maybe I need some help. So you have to figure out what it is you need to move forward. And then once you get that, then you can move forward. Sometimes you don't know where to go, and that's where, being in a mastermind, being in a group, a networking group, being in a group that they can lift you up and help you. Always surround yourself with people who know more about business than you do. But I think for me is that I stand still and I just breathe and I'm just like, what do I need right now? Like right this moment, what do I need?
Yeah. And
Because
that
if you
could
try
just
to,
be self-care, right?
yes,
It could be that you've been pushing so hard and grinding so hard that you really do just need a moment to step back and really take care of yourself, because it can't be all discomfort all the time, you know?
right. And
Sometimes
if it is, that's probably a sign. If it's uncomfortable all the time, that's something to pay attention to. But Rebecca said she feels responsible for people's happiness in her workshops, and that's uncomfortable. Girl, I hear you. I hear you, because you want everybody to feel good. You want everybody to feel comfortable. But I think also that when people start to feel your vibe of being comfortable, then they start to kind of, oh, okay. Okay, she's cool. She's okay. She's comfortable. I'm comfortable. Everyone feels good.
yeah. So I have a list here when we talked about it last time, Kat, of the
Mhm.
things that you can do when you are on the struggle bus. And so one of those things is basically we've mentioned stopping,
Mhm.
having a little self care. One of the things we said was if you need a temper tantrum moment, have it, but put a time limit on it. And mostly take a pause, but don't stop. Like don't quit just because, but maybe take a pause and figure out if you need a left turn. Call
Mhm.
what didn't make it to the list is like call a buddy, call somebody is who can be your cheerleader,
Right.
who can, who gets it, who can help keep you moving forward, but also listen, and who gets that, it's not all easy.
I think you're right. I think just talking it through, because sometimes you can talk to somebody and if they're not on the same, I don't know, if you're talking to someone who's isn't in business and you have a business issue and you're talking to them and they're like, well, why don't you do this? And then why don't you do this? And you're just like, none of it's not helping you at all. And maybe you need to speak with someone who can say, yep, been there, done that, you know, and here's what I did. It doesn't mean it's going to help you, but it's going to start you to think of different ways that you can approach whatever this thing is that's making you stop. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And sometimes just calling a friend and chatting about whatever. You know what I mean? Sometimes you just need to leave it, put your toys in the corner for a minute, go outside, look at the sunshine. Well, maybe not yet, depending on where you're at. Don't go outside if it's hot.
Right.
But
Or,
but
take
just
a shower. Like,
yeah,
it could
it's
be
something that
something
makes
really
you feel
simple.
good,
Yep. Put
you
on some
know?
music and have a little dance party, or take a nap, for crying out
Oh,
loud,
right?
right?
I know. A dance party's fun, a party of one, just me, and I know I look goofy, but, I don't care. I'm moving and grooving, that's all I'm gonna say, and you know what? Afterwards, I'm like it's like when you dust something, there's all this dust on it, you take it off, and then it's like the beauty of whatever was the dust was hiding is there. Not saying I'm more beautiful after I dance, I'm just saying. But what what I am saying is you've gotten all that stuff off of you, and you just feel kind of light, and you feel kind of okay, the brain's moving, the body was moving, and all of a sudden all these ideas start to, you know, Adam goes for a bus ride. Adam, I thought you were the bus driver.
Oh, that's funny, Adam. So for anybody who doesn't know, we all affectionate those of us in the community and our business mastermind. We refer to Adam as the bus driver because he is so good at keeping us all accountable, and so he will often be the one to remind. Didn't you say you were going to? I go for
Throwing
a
us under the
bus
bus in
ride.
a lovingly way, in a
That's
lovingly way, just saying.
Oh, Rebecca's got a good question. What did the child in you do to make you happy? I
Oh,
try and do
yes.
that. Maybe sing, dance, and draw. Yes, Rebecca. Tap
Mhm.
back into your essence. That
Mhm.
child in you is still
Mhm.
there and needs to come out and play sometimes.
Well, I think that's why I mean, probably for you too, I bought my roller skates, just it brings back that childhood, don't you feel free when you're on your skates? You're just like, oh, and then you take them off and you go, what just happened? Did I go somewhere?
Yes, and
know?
oh my gosh, being on the skates has been like the most fun. Like I put on my old and I put on the playlists from that were playing back when I was skating, and it takes me back, and I've just got this whole
Mhm.
like feeling of and being on my skates. I just feel like I'm kind of flying. It
Yeah.
brings it
A
all right
feeling of
back.
freedom, and I think swinging does that, swinging on a swing, that
Yes.
feeling of freedom where you're just back and forth and oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Why I need to retire. I need to just so I can go swing and go roller skating and swing.
Play with your dogs, right?
I know, just, but I can say that I love being an entrepreneur. I love what I do. And I hope that that shows through in what I do. But, you know, Yvonne, I know that you are an age agitator. Do you want to talk about your community and your networking events?
Yeah. Well, okay. So the community is the Midlife Uprising community. It is for women only. My podcast is for everybody, but the community I thought, we have a shared experience as women. Let's come together, and that's that whole community aspect of
Mhm,
having other people around you to buoy you up to say, I get it. I
mhm,
get where you're at, and what I try to do every month on our Zoom calls is bring up the topics that we don't normally talk about, the things that are uncomfortable, the things that are there underneath everything, driving the bus, Adam, and are, if they're under and we don't acknowledge them, they are driving us and we're not in charge. We're just
mhm,
reacting. So that's what my community is. We have monthly meetups, and it's
mhm.
just awesome. And then I have another thing that I do, which anybody can get in touch with me about this. Go to latebloomerliving.com, and there's actually a little place on the podcast page where you can leave me a voicemail. If you are a person who has a business that is catering to people in midlife or beyond, or looking at aging, specifically looking at midlife and beyond, or just serving people, if you're a stylist who serves women in midlife, if you're anything
Mhm.
like that, where your main audience is people of a certain age. I have a networking community, and I'm trying to help us all like have a place to come quarterly where we can network together and figure out how to collaborate,
Mhm.
because this is a community that needs to be served, and we can do it together. We can lift each other up in our businesses. And so that is something that, if that's your jam too, get in touch with me and I will send you the invite for the next get together that's coming up in October 9th, I think. 19th.
Mhm.
Yeah, 19th. Anyway, latebloomerliving.com is the best way to get in touch with me.
Well, I
And how
think
about you, Kat?
also, well, I just want to say this, Yvonne. I think as we get older, we think we're not relevant anymore. And we are so much more relevant because, not saying that, we don't, Yvonne and I don't get uncomfortable. We do. I think we've shared that. Not to say we don't let the peanut gallery get to us. We do. But you know what we also do? We don't give a crap about that anymore. We're just like, we're moving forward. We're like, yeah, okay, thank you, Peanut Gallery. Yay, thank you. Let's just keep it moving. But yeah, I have the Sisters in Service podcast. For those of you that don't know, I was in the military for 20 years. And it's a for I've had women, men, veterans, active duty, military brats, spouses, getting people to talk about what it's like being in the military, because I think a lot of people not in the military don't understand what we go through, but specifically women, what we go through in service and after service. And I also have the small space Pilates, which, if you've ever done an online class and it's all perfect and the hair's perfect and the lighting's perfect and the instructor's perfect, that's not me, y'all. Okay. I'm just going to tell you, it's about having a good time, but also working. I care about those people that are in my class. So we do strength, we do Pilates, we talk, I correct people's form. I want you to feel good in your body. That's my goal, is
I'm
to
going to
help
provide a
you feel good.
testimonial. I'm just going to provide a testimonial right now. Kat is amazing. This is, you get on Zoom and she, you just keep it real. You check
Mhm,
in with us every day to say, how are you feeling? First thing, what's your
mhm,
level? Where's your energy at today? And
mhm.
you adjust the class to where we're at. It's just incredible, the service that you provide for us. So thank you for that.
Well, I think it's just meeting people where they are. And I think that's what we have to do. Is some days we get up and we are at 100%, like that 100%. It's like, like this. And other days we get up and it's like, it's hovering, it's like your fuel tank when the E light's coming on, it's kind of doing this. And so you just have to say, okay, it's that kind of day. What can I do to bring that energy back? And that's what I try to do, is bring that energy, give you some energy back. And so if I can do that, then I think that I've helped everybody. But if you're interested, I'm a cat at smallspacepilates.com. And it's fun, y'all. It's fun. Rebecca said, I think letting go of the outcome has really helped her. And again, the definition of play. Right, Rebecca? Even in my classes, I tell people, look, if you see me cheating, doing something, let me know, or I'll say, did you see that? I was just cheating. Did y'all see that? No one called me out on it,
I
because I
love
want
that
them.
she mentioned, oh, I'm so sorry I interrupted you,
No,
but
it's okay.
I love that she mentioned the definition of play.
Yeah.
The playfulness, like if you can go into this whole idea of getting comfortable with being uncomfortable with a
Mhm,
sense of playfulness,
mhm,
if we can look at aging with a sense of playfulness, at
mhm.
anything on our to-do list, if we can go, how can, how can we gamify this thing, you know?
Well, I think we forget how to play as we get older. We think, oh, I'm this age, I got to act this way. Not me. No, I'm that girl giggling. It just being okay. So I have to tell you this. So when I first met my husband, we were first married, and we always go grocery shopping together, right? And so I'll be, I'm the person singing, in the aisle and everything. And my husband's like, will you stop doing, he's like, stop. And I'm like, what? I go, what's the matter? Am I embarrassing you? Do you need manager? Do I need to call the manager? It's like, oh my God, I'm leaving. But it's about, at this, we've gotten to this part, y'all. We've gotten here. We've gotten through that hard part. If you're healthy and you're happy, be playful. I'm not saying every day, but don't forget about that playfulness in you, because that's what, if I can't laugh every day, if I can't laugh in small space Pilates, if I can't laugh at mastermind, if I can't have that sense of playfulness, I'm not doing it. I'm just not. I refuse. So,
I love it.
any
And
last words?
Rebecca says, not this grandma either.
You go,
Oh,
Rebecca.
Rebecca and Adam, thank you guys so much for being with us today. We will be back. Oh my gosh, when are we even back?
I don't think we've gotten that far.
we'll be back in October.
We'll be back.
We will watch our you can you can follow us on Instagram and all the places. Of course, my place is
Mhm,
latebloomerliving.com. You can find me anywhere from
mhm.
there. And Kat is smallspacepilates.com, right? SS
Yeah.
Pilates or Small Space
Small
Pilates?
space Pilates.
Small
Yeah.
Space Pilates.
Yeah.
So follow us there. We will be also posting and let people know when the next one is, because we just didn't have it together today to do it. So now I'm uncomfortable.
I know. I know. Oh, who knew, right? We'll be in touch, y'all. We'll let you know. We're thinking about maybe going twice a month, but we'll see. So until next time, y'all, get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Till next
Exactly.
time.
Mwah.
Bye.
Bye.